In the heart of ancient Judea, nestled in the small village of Bethany, lived a family known for their deep love for each other and their close friendship with Jesus. This family consisted of two sisters, Martha and Mary, and their brother, Lazarus. Their home was often a haven of peace, laughter, and spiritual conversation, a place where Jesus found respite from his travels and ministry. The bond between Jesus and this family was strong, rooted in a shared faith and mutual affection. It was in this intimate setting that a dramatic and powerful event unfolded, an event that would become one of the most profound and compelling miracles of Jesus' ministry. This is the story of how Jesus, in his divine love and power, turned the sorrow of loss into the joy of new life, demonstrating that he is indeed the resurrection and the life. Prepare to be drawn into a narrative of deep faith, raw emotion, and the miraculous as we journey into the account of Lazarus being raised from the dead, a story that not only changed the lives of those who witnessed it, but continues to inspire and offer hope to countless generations. In the small village of Bethany, a short distance from Jerusalem, lived Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha. Their home was a place of warmth and welcome, often visited by their dear friend Jesus. One day, Lazarus fell seriously ill, and his sisters, knowing the power of Jesus, sent an urgent message to him: "Lord, the one you love is sick." Far away, on the other side of the Jordan River, Jesus received this message. Although his heart was filled with love for Lazarus and his sisters, Jesus responded in a way that surprised everyone. This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Instead of rushing to Lazarus's side, Jesus stayed where he was for 2 more days. The disciples were confused, wondering why Jesus wouldn't go to heal his friend. But Jesus had a greater purpose in mind, one that would reveal his power in an extraordinary way. After 2 days, Jesus turned to his disciples and said, "Let us go back to Judea." The disciples, remembering the threats against Jesus' life from the last time they were in Judea, were apprehensive. "But Rabbi," they said, "a short while ago the Jews tried to stone you, and yet you are going back?" Jesus reassured them, speaking of light and darkness, of walking in the light so one does not stumble. He then said, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up." The disciples, not understanding that Jesus was speaking of Lazarus's death, replied, "Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better." So Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." Seeing Jesus' resolve, Thomas, known as the twin, encouraged his fellow disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." When Jesus arrived in Bethany, Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. The news of Lazarus's death had spread, and many Jews had come to comfort Mary and Martha. Martha, hearing that Jesus was near, hurried out to meet him. Her eyes were filled with both grief and faith as she spoke. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus looked into Martha's eyes, filled with compassion, and said, "Your brother will rise again." Martha nodded, thinking of the future resurrection at the last day. "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day," she said. But Jesus then made a profound declaration. "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Martha's heart was stirred, and with a deep conviction she replied, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." Martha then went back to the house and whispered to Mary, "The teacher is here and is asking for you." Mary, surrounded by mourners, quickly got up and went to Jesus. The people, thinking she was going to the tomb to weep, followed her. When Mary reached Jesus, she fell at his feet, her tears flowing freely. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died," she cried. Seeing Mary's tears and the mourning crowd, Jesus was deeply moved. His spirit was troubled, and he asked, "Where have you laid him?" They replied, "Come and see, Lord." As they led him to the tomb, Jesus, sharing in their sorrow, wept. His tears were a testament to his love for Lazarus and his compassion for all who grieve. Some of the onlookers whispered among themselves, "See how he loved him," while others wondered, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? Arriving at the tomb, a cave with a stone laid across the entrance, Jesus instructed, "Take away the stone." Martha, always practical, voiced her concern, "But Lord, by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." Jesus gently reminded her, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" Trusting him, they rolled away the stone. Jesus looked up towards heaven and prayed aloud, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." Then, with a voice that rang out with authority, Jesus called, "Lazarus, come out." For a moment there was silence, and then, to the astonishment of all, Lazarus came out of the tomb. His hands and feet were wrapped with strips of linen, and a cloth covered his face. The crowd gasped, seeing the dead man walking. Jesus, with a gentle command, said, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." The miracle left the people in awe and wonder. Many who had come to mourn witnessed this incredible display of God's power and believed in Jesus, realizing he truly was the Son of God, the one who brings life from death. This was not just the story of Lazarus coming back to life, but a powerful testimony that Jesus is the resurrection and the life, offering hope and eternal life to all who believe in him.